It was a fairly routine day in Pakistan today. American missile strikes, an assassination, the army continuing its offensive in the Swat Valley. It's an article of faith in Washington and London that radical Islam has to be stopped from taking over the country, which has nuclear weapons, of course. One of the less violent and, it's hoped, earlier interventions is being conducted by a man called Maajid Nawaz. He used to be a leading member of the Islamist group Hizb ut-Tahrir. Now the British government is paying for missionary work to change minds in Pakistan. Newsnight's Tim Hewell has had exclusive access to his tour.
Traffic of many kinds passes through Heathrow Airport. This passenger trades in that most powerful and dangerous of commodities, ideas. For years he spread Islamist extremism. Now, backed by the British government, Maajid Nawaz is heading for the front line in the war on terror to fight the ideas he once promoted.
There's going to be a lot of mental strain because, as well as the natural security concerns, there are also concerns about how well the message will be received. Of course, we don't want people to think that we're in any way preaching to them how to solve their problems.
His destination? Pakistan, a nuclear power now threatened by extreme Islamism, a country whose problems he knows well, since he helped to cause them. He was here undercover 10 years ago, sent from his home in Britain as an agent of the Islamist party Hizb ut-Tahrir, infiltrating universities, working to overthrow the government and establish eventually a worldwide government of Islam, the Caliphate. Later he came home after nearly 4 years in an Egyptian jail and told Newsnight he was renouncing the party that he'd served fanatically all his adult life. Back in Pakistan, Islamization has continued apace. Today, ever more children are forsaking secular schools for madrasas, religious seminaries. And some fear that the narrow focus on sacred texts leaves them ripe for conversion afterwards to the political creed of Islamism. The teachers at this Islamabad madrasa say it's none of their business.
No, there's no such thing as a harmful madrasa. There may be individuals who are harmful, but not the institution. Students don't have any political ideology while they're with us. If we sense anything like that in a student, we kick them out. But once they finish their education, where they go, what they do and who exploits them, we are not concerned about that.
Just down the corridor, a sign of radicalization before they've left. Saudi-style headdresses. Does that show admiration for a country that, unlike Pakistan, enforces Sharia law?
The best of Islam in Saudi Arabia because of the government of Saudi Arabia is working under the law of Islam.
At the moment, Saudi Arabia is the only Islamic state because it has an Islamic system, and we are only seeing that in Saudi Arabia right now.
Most Wahhabis, who follow the strict Saudi interpretation of Islam, don't believe in violent anti-Western jihad, but some do. The Pakistani police say the vast majority of suicide bombers are young, poor and madrasa educated. But they're just the foot soldiers of jihad. Its ideological commanders are usually educated elsewhere, in secular universities, and that's where anti-extremists like Maajid Nawaz believe the struggle for ideas must be waged. He's inoculating students against extremism on campuses like this, Islamabad's Quaid-e-Azam University, the best in Pakistan. Female dress here has become ever more modest, and students' views, some believe, ever narrower. The vast campus now boasts 4 mosques. The only bookshop has shut down.
The students coming in, what one finds is that there has been academic degradation, but also there is much less curiosity about the outside world. You also see that the way in which students dress has changed quite a bit. And so something's happened, something very important, something fundamental has changed.
He's invited Maajid Nawaz here to help reopen minds. Otherwise, he fears that even physics students may fall prey to fundamentalism.
Unless one engages students, engages their minds, and moves them away from their ethnic and religious and sectarian identities, that's what is going to happen. Because the mullah or the ethnic ideologue, he appeals to something that's very primal. He doesn't engage the mind. In school, they've been programmed in a manner that they've got to obey, obey, obey. Now that's the sort of thing that some of us in the university want to break. We want them to ask questions. We want them to challenge us.
Sparking debate among Muslims, abroad and in Britain, is the aim of Maajid Nawaz's think tank, the Quilliam Foundation, which this year received nearly £1 million from British taxpayers.
These groups, their intellectual ideologues, come from the university-educated classes. The cannon fodder, the suicide bombers, the jihadists, they come from the lesser educated, but they are the followers.
By the time we meet up in Pakistan, he's been touring universities here for more than a fortnight, filming his lectures along the way. The students he meets remind him of how he was 15 years ago.
Giving lectures, I've had students stand up and quote to me exactly what I would have been trained and trained others to say through the Islamist narrative. And I've had to remind them that, look, for 13 years I said everything you're saying. Don't talk to me as if I don't know.
Some have thanked him for inspiring what he calls the moderate majority.
We are totally with you. We support you against extremism. As Muslims and Pakistanis, we are always in support of this.
Growing up in my hometown, that is until I reached my teenage years.
Others claim he's now as extremely pro-West as he was once anti. Even the surveys he conducts after the meetings, they claim, are biased.
The West is responsible for all this chaos. And you haven't given us an option to say that.
We should also be thinking for ourselves. If somebody's trying to use us, why do we fall into the trap?
I've had people say to me there's no such thing as extremism in Pakistan. But that contrasts with the majority reaction, who are worried about those very people who are denying extremism, because they are, by and large, the very people that are responsible for most of the extremism as well.
And in a sign of Pakistan's growing instability, one event's already been cancelled due to death threats.
There is a chatter going around about the safety of my person and as to whether I am a target. Now we are taking precautions. In that regard, I'm wearing, underneath my top here, I'm wearing a flak jacket, which should be at least sufficient to repel any superficial or light arms fire attack.
The campus cafe at his next venue, Quaid-e-Azam, looks calm enough, but an Islamist student movement, powerful elsewhere in Pakistan, is determined to establish itself here.
You arrived 2 months ago. 4 months
Its local leader has agreed, somewhat reluctantly, to meet me.
We aren't going and attacking other people, they are attacking us. We are the victims of terrorism everywhere, like in Palestine and Kashmir. The West and India are the extremists. Muslims are not extremists.
So what would he say to a British Muslim preaching against extremism here?
I would just tell that British guy that there is no extremism here. We'd explain to him what's going on here, and that Islam doesn't teach that, it teaches love.